It's 13 away from 8 now. Some Mount Albert residents say recent slips in the Auckland flooding were due to areas of the mountain where there are no trees stabilising the land. But this goes to the heart of a long-running debate between two groups on opposite sides of a debate about whether 345 exotic trees should be removed from the Maunga and replaced with native shrubs, grasses and trees. Honour the Maungas, Anna Radford and Tūpuna Maunga manager Nick Turoa join us this morning. Thank you very much. So Anna, you are on the side of keep the exotics. Why do you want them to stay?
Well, first of all, we're not against succeeding the mountain to fully native vegetation, but we're saying it should be done over time, as would happen in nature. So leave the exotic trees in place. They provide valuable food and homes for the native and non-native birds, the insects and all the other wildlife. And then plant the natives, of course, and then, over time the mountain will become fully native. So it's more the process that we're concerned about rather than the end goal.
So you're saying eventually you could get rid of them, but in the meantime, while you're planting the rest, keep them?
Yeah, it's important to understand that the Tūpuna Maunga Authority is actually planning on taking out a total of around 2,500 exotic trees off Auckland's Maunga. So at Wairaka there's 345. They're mostly going to be replaced with grasses, flaxes and shrubs. Very few will actually be trees. In Wairaka's case, we've seen the planting plans, and the new plantings will be in areas which aren't inhabited by the exotic trees, so there's no reason not to leave them there. Also, a lot of the exotic trees have young native self-sown ones growing underneath them. Yeah, so they would be destroyed if the exotics were felled as well.
Nick, is there any merit to that? Plant around and remove them once the native trees and shrubs are more mature?
I really think that context is really important around some of this thing. So to put this into perspective, the Maunga are some of the most internationally significant archaeological sites in the world. In fact, they're on the tentative World Heritage List, and we are looking towards World Heritage listing. The Tūpuna Maunga Authority has a vision of returning the Maunga to an indigenous landscape and planting significant amounts of native trees right across. We've already planted roughly 150,000. We've got another 50,000 coming in the next year. There are really good operational reasons for removing the trees at once. Firstly, it's actually quite hard to extract a tree from the middle of a native planting when they're already there.
Yeah, because you could damage the surrounding.
You can damage the surrounding archaeology. You can damage the surrounding plantings. Yeah, so and also it's just better. We think it's better, and we've had archaeologists, ecologists, and arborists all concur with us that to remove them at once is going to ultimately do less damage on the Maunga, and will actually have efficiencies throughout the program.
Anna?
Well, the slips tell a different story. So at Wairaka there was a massive slip which has actually resulted in several homes being red and yellow stickered. At Maunga One Tree Hill there were about 15 slips. Or Hinura Mount Hobson, there were some big slips as well, all on archaeological features on slopes where there were no trees. So if you take out more trees, then you're going to get more archaeological features, the terraces, the middens being damaged. So that just doesn't make sense to us.
Is there evidence, Nick, that those trees are stabilising the Maunga?
Well, I guess, again, perspective is really important. So, we're looking at two rainfall events that occurred in January and February. The first one where we saw an unprecedented amount of rain come down in the first in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So really, what's caused those slips are things like preferential water flow, things like there's a layer of hard tuft underneath on Maunga, for example. So basically, the water can't penetrate into that clay-like surface. So that's caused a whole bunch of things whole bunch of erosion to occur. On Wairaka, 3 really large eucalyptus trees actually fell down the Maunga and endangered the houses and lives of people. That's in the first rain event. So that's in the first rain event. In the second rain event, we saw 12 or 13 exotic trees come down. One damaged our tracks, one fell and completely destroyed a playground inside on one of our Maunga, and we also saw a lot of archaeology all being disrupted by by the tree falling.
What is going to get you both to agree? or to come to some kind of negotiation and compromise, because this has been going on for a long time, hasn't it?
Well,
we actually agree on succession to fully native vegetation over time. We've always agreed on that. We
So it's
just
the
agree.
method.
It's the process. And look, we're here for where will the birds who use those trees as food and homes, where will they go? Where will they live? What will they eat? In the 80 or 100 years it'll take the few exotic trees being planted to grow to maturity.
Again, we've had ecologists that have been helping us design our program. We know that there's going to be some different patterns and distribution of birds, but ultimately there's enough habitat right across the Maunga and other areas, and we also know that that native birds they sit inside all the new plantings. And it's also coupled with incredible pest control that we've been doing across the Maunga. So we're ultimately going to be creating better habitat for all the bird species.
Would be interested to hear from any of our viewers who have been in this situation with exotics and native tree planting. Feedback at amshow.co.nz for your experience. It's 7 away from 8 now. I'm in the Maungas, Anna Radford, and Tūpuna Maunga manager Nick Turoa. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Obviously, I know nothing about this, but can't we just go 50-50? You know, half one side, half the other. Everyone's happy. Birds are happy.
Well, the Maunga Authority has recently decided to leave a series of majestic trees throughout the Maunga. So actually we have been listening and we have agreed to
Little
the
compromise.
restoration program.
Maybe a few more and we'll be there, everyone's happy.
But you've still applied to the council for over $1 million worth of tree felling budget at the time that libraries are
I'm doing more harm than good. I'm stepping up. It is 6 away from 8 o'clock. Coming up next, the big cats in big trouble, the Northland Sanctuary, whose tight